Howdy everyone, this is Dad with a Bag. I'm working on I'll call it a hybrid, but body's a 77, it's a CJ7. If you ever get to work on a CJ7 or restoring it, there's a lot to learn. The body is a 77, the frame is like early 80s. I've got parts from like early 80s, 83, like the harness is in 83. But you'll learn a lot that there are tremendous differences from 76 to, I believe, 80-ish, maybe 81, and then from 81 and on, the body's slightly different. A lot of things are different. Frames wider. They'll call it the wide track frames. So this one, it has a 2.5-inch lift, plus it has some extended shackles. So it's around about a 3 to 4-inch lift, something like that. I'm working on the emergency brake cable, and I've got all new cable up front. Oh, and the body's got a little bit of a body lift, so we're kind of making some adjustments on the cable and length. The factory 2 brake cables for the emergency brake, park brake, depending on the frame, some of them would have a hoop right across here that little nubbin right there, this bracket, would bolt to. If it doesn't, I'm going to have to figure out how to make a bracket off the body. The various frames will have different styles. But on the cables, I ended up having to cut off this bracket because this is what holds on the cables to the frame. Sorry. So I cut it off. I ended up adjusting it back probably about, I think, 2 inches, 3 inches. Yes, did a lot of welding on this, and yes, my welding is not the best. I'm learning a lot. I'm making a lot of progress. But on this part of it, the middle cable, this thread pitch right here, is 5/16 by 24. Going to the hardware store, it's going to be hard to find bolts and nuts and stuff. They don't have a lot. The problem I had was when I put this on, the cable right here was short by, inch or two. So I went and found a coupling nut. You can kind of see it there. I used Loctite with that. And then I actually found this one is an inch long, inch and a quarter maybe, 5/16 24 bolt. And then I had a locking nut. So I put the nut on backwards, so that way when I'm adjusting the cable this way, it'll put the tension correctly on this bracket here for both of them, pushing it in. Now, the only challenge I'm going to fight with is I don't have a lot of thread. So if anybody has any suggestions on this, I don't know. I'm worried that I'm going to be running into a part where I can only adjust it to a certain point. Outside of maybe cutting this off at the end some to make this rod shorter. Most hardware stores usually sell longer bolts than this. The only problem I have is that when you get 1.5 inches and above, it has a shank, so no thread. So I couldn't run the bolt all the way back. The nut all the way back. If you can find an all-thread bolt that's like 1.5 inches, it'd probably be a good thing for you. And then you might even have to trim this in a little bit, so that way you already have tension coming this way. But it's on. It's secure. I got to secure the clip up for the cable at the pedal. The other neat thing is that the pedal on the firewall has adjustment up and down. So there is some play if you have a little bit of wiggle room on these cables. They do not make extended length brake cables. I've tried, I've looked, I've asked. You will not find them. They don't make them. You pretty much have to kind of finagle your own stuff. But good luck. I'm also working on the clutch assembly here. So, let's see if we get better. Where'd you go? Oh, this one. So, on this part here, this is the clutch fork. On the 77s, they're all the same on this. This rod right here is different on the 77s versus the 81 and newer. The 77 up to 80 has a ball and socket, and mine was all worn out right in here. This part, for the most part, is all the same, minus this tab right there. This bolts the firewall and then bolts to the transmission. And then this rod right here is your adjustment for the fork. Sorry. For the clutch pedal to adjust the tension on the clutch. It's all mechanical. So I'm still kind of tweaking on it. I end up using the newer style on the older setup. If you're going to end up having to do a hybrid design like I am, you're going to struggle a lot because you have those issues. The transmission crossmember are different because the frames are different. The other transmission mount is in a different location because it's a different transmission completely. Transfer case is usually the same, but this crossmember, this factory one, are not the same. They won't bolt up the same to the transmission or to the frame. So I'll make another video on that for some ideas I have. Talk to you guys later. Bye.